thing. I did forget to redo that. Okay, you got it back now. Now we're good. All right,
there
sweet. Hey everyone, I'm PM Master, and this is...
I'm Brad Loxton.
And for the second time, we're going to be saying today that we're from Trendy Entertainment, and we're going to be talking to you today about Dungeon Defenders 2. So we're going to be trying some new things this week. I have this Shield tablet here. You can see it's labeled by the IT department, and I'm going to be reading your comments off of here because apparently it's very frustrating when I move out of the range of the camera to go in and see your guys' names. So,
everyone loves seeing your pretty face, Phil. They don't want you to go off camera.
I think they really just want my mouth to be pointed at the microphone at all times.
I was trying to give you a nice...
So John's nodding. He's like, yeah. So we'll see. We'll see if that's working. So cool. So just to introduce what we're doing on the stream today, we're going to start with Brad and we're going to have Haddad later. You'll notice in the mid-right corner, we are continuing our kind of art of the week.
Oh,
thing.
really?
So you can see here that you'll see Dan Pinkson. He's one of our character artists, and he's actually modeling the propeller cat that you guys saw Enrique draw, I think, 2 weeks now. So that should be fun. So please enjoy watching that while we stream the game. Then you also notice iPass Butter. He's continuing. If you guys missed it last week, we're doing a naked hard challenge. So he's playing his way through hard, but with fresh characters. And he's been practicing this whole week. So he's like, but he has.
So judge as harshly as you want?
Exactly, yeah. So this time...
The gauntlet's been thrown.
Yeah, I had already seen someone made a comment before, which was about how many levels is he going to get through today. So we'll find out. I think, is I Am Isum joining you today on that? Yes. Okay, so maybe he won't...
Really.
Not really?
Just kind of...
Just maybe.
He's
just mentally.
Just sitting there.
So they'll both be playing through today, so we'll see how far we get. And you guys can in the comments let us know if you think these guys are playing it completely wrong.
Yes.
They need to change, and we'll let them know what we think too. So it should be a lot of fun. We also have some cool topics to talk about. No reveals about next patch yet, but I hope everyone's still enjoying the current patch.
Yeah.
Foundation Part 2. Got a lot of feedback. I know Josh has been pushing through a couple of changes. Are we doing a hotfix on that at some point, or don't know yet? Maybe. Maybe.
Yeah, there may be a hotfix coming up soon. We've been getting some notes and some bug reports that we need to fix, so maybe.
Yeah. And then if you guys haven't seen the influence report, obviously we're going to have a lot to talk about this stream.
Yeah.
But just related to drop tables, if anyone, we've seen a couple reports about people feeling like the loot on hard mode is not as good as the loot on normal mode. So any data that you guys can collect to kind of show us what that problem may be, please do. We've kind of run tests on our side, and so far those tests have said that everything's okay.
Yep.
But it may not be. Obviously, with game development, there might be a wrong number somewhere or something like that. So please, if you guys do feel this way, please let us know, and we can continue to look into it.
Yeah.
Cool. All right. So, guys, comment away. I'll be answering questions from your comments. We're also going to be going through questions from the forums here. Hopefully, we'll get through them all today. So let's start here before we start with the...
Oh, sorry. Don't look at the iPad. Or the iPad.
No, yeah, that's mine. It's mine to look at.
Okay.
Okay, cool. So Gutu wants to know, will the game be better balanced for a number of players instead of simply for 1 to 2 and 3 to 4? As in one more specific difficulty per number of players. It makes sometimes solo too hard and 4-player too easy. If so, when can we expect that?
We started with 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 because we were trying to find buckets that we could focus in on and try to make really good experiences. That's just an attempt. That's what we're trying in order to, as a design philosophy, to start. If we really get a lot of feedback saying that maybe certain parts of those buckets, like maybe 1 to 2 works, but full-on group play is not as challenging because the difference between 3 and 4 is pretty substantial, then maybe we go one more layer down. I really think a lot of that just comes to you guys giving us feedback on where those things are happening, because there might be some things that we're not doing well when it comes to 1 to 2 balance in general that is really not really applicable just to solo play, but it's applicable to both 1 and 2 players. So, getting good specific feedback will help us a lot, and then based on that, we'll figure out what kind of balance changes we should make.
Exactly, and I think as a corollary to that, we're still really figuring out all the balance stuff, so the whole game, not just those. So I think it is still a persistent question over whether those are going to be the only 2 balances available within the realm of things, and if fixing things within that realm fixes those, or there has to be more data.
I will say this too, we actually have a lot of discussion going on internally about how to handle solo play more effectively. When it comes to how not just solo but solo and 2-player play. When it comes to how lane enemy population is working, like certain enemies require player intervention more than others. If you see a dark mage, you really need to go kill that thing. You can't just let it wander around the lane on its own. So we're trying to find ways to maybe approach the structure of balance for those lower numbers and for the higher number player counts to make them more interesting, and maybe adding new enemies down the road that can also amplify that. So those are all things that we're talking about too.
Cool. All right, so moving on to the next question. The next question is from Bunny Cape. And Bunny Cape would like to know, are you just testing out endgame content right now and removing all of it in the future, adding new levels and maps and then doing it again?
No, we're testing everything. We're actually spending a good amount of time on both what we call the new user experience and how players get into the mechanics and what that balance feels like when you just start off, especially for someone that maybe is completely new to Dungeons & Defenders and never played it before. And then, as you can tell, we're also adding in a good amount of content to people who've already hit 25 and they're kind of going through new things. And every milestone, we kind of theme the milestones around targets, the balance time. Sometimes we're focusing on 25 and 25 plus plus. You remember a couple milestones ago, we actually focused heavily on the beginning part of the game and how you go from level 1 to level 10 and level 10 to level 20. So you're going to see as we continue getting feedback on maybe where things could be better, we're going to implement changes and balance changes to those areas. So I'd be curious where you guys opinions would be on where we should spend more of our time, but it's definitely something we're going to variable based on your feedback.
And I think a really concise answer to that is that obviously the current endgame content will not always be the endgame content. There's a lot of levels and content that's going to be put into the game throughout early access.
Yes.
That doesn't mean that the current I don't think that even our team knows yet where the current experience will fall in terms of endgame. So whether incursions get shifted after a couple more levels or they fall in between, that's something that we're actively, we'll be figuring out as we release more content.
Yep.
So we're going to do one more question before we talk about the influence vote, which is really exciting. Just letting a couple more people hop on the stream. So this is also from Bunny Cake, and they want to know, aren't you building a blockhouse on chopsticks because the campaign lasts only 5 hours and the endgame is just farming for gear in slightly different ways? Isn't it a lot harder to add more levels after endgame is set up because you have to move and change the whole endgame then?
That's a really good question. We actually started out back when we were first live on Steam Early Access with a longer progression cycle. Going from level 1 to what our current max level 25 took, I think, 20-ish hours. And we were getting a lot of feedback from people pretty globally that it was, hey, we want to get to 25 later on, and then the game kind of opens up from there. That's where the real game starts when it comes to different game modes and different reward loops and things like that. We're right now working on adding more reward loops into those parts of the game. So you can imagine similar to like maybe an MMO, in WoW when you get to level 60 or 80 or whatever the end game cap is, depending on when the expansion is. There's all these different things that open up, like raiding and all these different PvP options and whatnot. We're trying to find the same exploration. That said, it's good to hear that some people have a different opinion. And it's really exciting. Maybe we need to spend a little more time adding depth and opportunity in the leveling experience to make that a little bit wider. Right now, our goal is to hit about 8 hours. So if it's 5 hours, that's a little bit shorter than I think we want. We think we're trying to get to 8 to 10 hours. And I'd love to see what you guys think about doing that more.
And I think, also on that note, as we add new content, we don't know where the time will shift. So it may be that new content both shifts the campaign time and shifts the end game time. So there's a lot of different places where we're playing around. I think the thing that's important to note is things that are in our test right now. So it's better to, we talk about a lot internally. It's like, okay, well, let's say we had 5 hours to the campaign and we're planning to add another 5 hours. We wouldn't just want to have that 5 hour campaign and then have you guys not be able to do anything.
That's right.
Because you guys are still playing and doing things. So we're throwing ideas at you guys to see what you like and what you don't like, and that will kind of change where we progress from there.
Yep. And that's the spirit of being early access. So keep on telling us, not just what we're asking us what we're doing, but your ideas for what you would like, and that kind of helps drive what kind of decisions we make.
Perfect. All right. So now I want to move on to the influence reports. This is really exciting. So this is our first influence vote in quite a while. I think I said that the last time too. So hopefully we'll get a little more frequent.
3 weeks or so.
Yeah.
I just checked the influence vote earlier before the stream, and it's the closest influence vote we've ever had. And it's been, if you guys watch the influence report, for all of you guys who keep up with the reports that we do, not just the last one, but the one before.
So hold on, before that, what is the vote?
So, okay, The vote is about our reward experiences inside of our Onslaught game mode, which is our survival game mode. And we have two different options that we've been debating out internally. One of them is, let me take a step back. In Onslaught, every time you complete a wave in Onslaught Endless Game Mode, you get a reward, like chest, and that's going to give you something like, swords and weapons or armor or relics or pets or whatever have you. And we have two different ways that you can direct the kind of rewards you get. On the one side, I think it's the mercenary side, you actually can set the kind of reward you want for the entire game session playing Onslaught. So from when you start all the way to when you fail, you can set the kind of rewards you want. I would like to see more sword rewards, or I'd like to see more armor rewards. On the expeditionary side of the vote, you actually get to choose which rewards you get every single time a wave completes. So you finish wave 1, choose one of 3 or 4 different types of chests, finish wave 2, do the same thing. And the idea behind the vote, the philosophies, is one of them is really convenient and easy. You set the time, then you just keep on playing in that session. The other one is a lot more choice. You have the min-maxers that want to choose every single time. But if you have 4 people and you're playing every single wave and you go for like an hour, that can get kind of annoying to have to constantly make that decision over and over again.
And if you're playing in public matches, it might take even longer.
That too. So we've had a really big debate about this internally on which way we think we go. There's people that are on both sides of the fence. And we wanted to bring that up to you. And this is a big change for us in the influence system. Before, we're having a lot of votes that were about what we're building next, because for us that's really important. And we kept on getting feedback that you guys wanted more votes that were about big decisions that we're making. So this is about the reward loop for Onslaught. That's a really big decision, and we're trying to get the decision that you guys are most excited about.
So first, I'm going to interrupt Brad for a second. Survival mode, yes, it's coming. Yes, it's called Onslaught.
Yep.
Yes, there will be rewards. The reward structure, let's just break it apart for everyone so you can see there are going to be rewards every round. So you're going to receive 1 reward every round. So now there's 2 sides to the influence vote.
Yeah, I went through that.
Yeah, I know we went through it. But now what I want to say is, so what kind of people do you think are going to pick each side? So we have expeditionary and we have mercenary.
Right.
So who are the mercenaries? People who value...
They value time. They want to make sure it's inconvenience. You still have choice, but you don't have to make that choice over and over and over again. The games go faster. You get through the wave reward loops faster, and you can probably, to be honest, you could probably play more waves, especially if you're in a public match. You can get more of that game done in a shorter period of time.
So if you're the kind of person who's like, I just need to farm for this dragon pet, then you're probably gonna want mercenary, because you're just gonna pick it, jump in, farm until you lose. Right?
Yep.
All right, cool. So now expeditionary. What kind of person's gonna like this choice? Kind of gamer?
Expeditionary are really what we call the min-maxers. Guys and girls who want to get like the most out of every single choice they're going to make, which means every single wave I can choose between a weapon, an armor, a pet, a relic, and I can make that choice potentially 100 times. Like every single wave I can choose what I want. So if I know that I need like lower tiered rewards that are weapons, then the first 20 waves I'm choosing weapons over and over again, and then maybe I want to get more high-end pets. So for the waves that are deeper on in the experience where I've been playing for 45 minutes or an hour, I switch to start doing pets. And the challenge to that is that, if I'm a convenience guy and Phil is a choice guy, then...
I'm a convenience guy.
Okay, we're a convenience guy.
You can be the choice guy.
It might be a little bit impatient if you're having to make that choice every time.
So I think, if you're the kind of person who looks at the upgrade wheel and says, man, I wish you could just press a button and didn't have to combine items, then you're probably going to want to pick mercenary. If you're the kind of person who thinks it's cool, the idea that you can put multiple items in and get different kind of outcomes, then you're probably going to want to pick expeditionary, right?
Yeah, that's an interesting analogy, yeah.
So cool. So we're really excited. I know someone, we have PSO Master 437 just said someone just dumped almost 900 points into one side. I don't know what side that is, although since that's 3 years worth of points, I don't think that's going to be, it's about 2 years and a half worth of points. I don't think that's just one person who did it. And
that's probably a few. But it's
people
funny
watching the stream.
I've actually, it's been very educational for us to watch the debates taking place. And just people are, they're trying to rally everyone to their side. Like, I'm for mercenary, I'm for expeditionary. They're kind of having little banners and flags.
Oh man, that's a good idea. We're talking about some changes to the influence system. We should let people in the comments pick which side they're on. It should do something to their post.
Oh yeah, it shows I'm this one or that one. That's actually a cool idea.
Yeah, that'd be a cool idea.
But yeah, it's fun to watch. And I saw the same thing actually when I was reading. Like in the beginning, someone's like all 100 points to the one that I want because this one's really important to me. So I honestly have no idea where this is going to land. It's pretty fun to watch.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So this is really probably one of our most exciting influence votes so far. So we're really excited to get feedback from you guys if you want to see more votes like this and to find out what the outcome is. And then once it's done, it's finished in 2 weeks, we will have Onslaught to you, not in this next update, but probably in the update after that.
Yeah.
I say probably. So
yeah.
We'll see. We still have to prototype it and see. And I think we've been talking about it might be fun after the vote goes through to maybe live stream some of it before it comes out to kind of see what you guys think.
Yeah.
Cool. All right, so back to feedback. Ready?
Do we have any questions on the stream?
We don't have any questions on the stream yet. We have some people debating about how many points. PSO Master says he just spent 79 points on it today, so I'm glad. I think, I was joking with Josh that maybe we should tell everyone that we're going to wipe all their points after this one to force people to vote. We just have to tell them. We don't have to do it. But it's good. I'm glad to see something that you guys care about enough to kind of put your earned points into it, since that's the whole point.
Yep.
Perfect. So if you guys have questions on the stream, you want to talk about the influence vote, please feel free to do. We're going to prioritize stream questions over forum questions. But in the meantime, let's go over another forum question.
Let's do it.
So this one's from Dragon Hater.
Wait, why do you hate dragons?
Oh man, I don't know. Let's find out.
I love dragons.
So, are there going to be only enemies that can heal, or will there ever be enemies that can buff enemies, like physical magic resistance, movement speed, attack speed, or damage buffs as well?
We are actually talking about this right now because if you remember if anyone that watched the Influence Report, one of the things that was discussed was, making the different physical and magic resist lanes kind of evenly challenging, so that the experiences always are interesting for all the different build types. And part of that discussion is how do we create new gameplay experiences based on the enemy types. So we have an okay palette of enemies for both physical and magic resist right now. I like it, but you're completely correct. I think that as we continue to add more depth into how does a huntress have really interesting builds? How does a monk have interesting builds to deal with those different combinations? We add some of those cool debuffs and buffs. I don't expect it to just be healing down the road.
Yeah, and I think, as we kind of do commanders and those sorts of things, it's probably, and the incursion bosses that you guys see. That's probably, maybe some of the areas where we'll see some of that stuff first.
Yeah.
So cool. So we have people fighting over the influence vote in the chat. And someone actually has a really interesting idea. Yeah, we can see, we have, hold on, who was it?
Well, I was looking for this. It's funny, I wouldn't say it amuses me, but I find it's refreshing because this particular vote, I'm not kidding you, this was we debated a lot about this, just trying to make a decision internally when someone was just like, we should just put this in the community because we don't know what to do. So it's kind of funny you guys are struggling with the same things that we were talking about in the design room. It's kind of hilarious.
So we have Batophobia, who said he wants a mercenary mode where that you have the choice to change it in between waves, but you don't have to. So you lock it in and then you just play, but if you ever wanted to change it, you could just change it. It's an interesting idea. Yeah. So everyone always tries to find the best of both, best of both worlds, which is not a bad thing to do. So we'd love if those kind of your ideas to kind of put that in the forum thread there.
Yeah, definitely.
And see how it goes. Oh, we have this is an interesting question. This is one from Giga's. I only read the first sentence, so it might not be interesting.
Oh, okay.
When we lose defenses, it becomes a downward spiral, not having enough mana subsequent ways. Will there be a way to reclaim lost mana when defenses are destroyed so you don't have to restart a map?
Oh man, that is an old debate. We talked about that a lot when we were first putting in the sub-objectives actually, where it's like, when you're losing defenses and you're starting to lose equity in the map, how to react when a new lane opens up, and we talked about, that's why the lane is delayed. It doesn't happen in the middle of the match. That was we actually had a design where it opened in the middle of the match. To be honest, it's really hard to say because at one point, you want to have players really think through how they lay out their defenses, and maybe if you're starting to see your strategy isn't working, you need to try again and try a different strategy. That's part of the fun of the game, is figuring out good strategies. We've also talked about ways that maybe you get equity back based on a certain type of game mode. I know for the wave director design, we've talked about, is there a way to inject some mana based on you moving certain towers or losing certain towers, so you can react to how the wave director is responding to your gameplay style. So right now we don't have any plans to do that specifically, but it is a conversation we've had before and we're still talking about.
And one of the big differences between DD1 and DD2 is kind of the precision which you have to play them. So in DD1 with a single resource, it was kind of like you got enough of that resource. The resource wasn't meant to block your tower being built. What was meant to block your towers being built was DU. So if you did like fall behind because some of your towers fell, you could course correct. So I know that's something that designers are always constantly talking about, which is how we can do stuff. There was like, you know, actually the origin of the Apprentices blockade going down and up was at one point like a question that the designers had about how could we maybe fix the fact that if a blockade falls, you just lost like 500 mana, and that was like just a bunch of different that was just like a test on seeing it. So it's definitely something that people here are thinking of. I don't think anyone wants to implement anything until they have a better idea of where they want to go with it and where they want to go with the balance. But it's certainly on everyone's mind. I mean, we know when the game goes free to play and we bring free players in that, you know, if people snowball out of control and there's no fast reset, you know, there may be issues. I think if you guys are interested in this topic, if you take a look at the panel that Josh did for PAX South, the tower defense panel. All different groups actually talked about this a little bit, and the defense grid guys actually mentioned that one of the big things that they did in their game, which we probably wouldn't be able to do in ours, is basically a rewind button.
That's right.
They're like, we weren't able to solve the problem, but it was very well received. We were able to let people rewind. So if they made a mistake, it wasn't like, oh, I have to play through all of it again. It's like I can rewind and then play again.
Which is tough to do in a multiplayer experience. Yeah, for sure.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So we do have one person. Let me see who it was. So, sorry, the Twitch chat on this iPad this Shield tablet is very tiny. Okay, so Deladia wanted to know if we were going to hide influence points in future votes. So that's definitely something that we want to try. We're not doing it for this one yet.
No, we're debating it a lot because we actually talked about that on one of the streams, I think, and we got some people that said they liked that idea, and some people they said they really didn't like that idea. It's been very polarizing. So trying to figure out what's the best way for us to approach that is going to be tricky.
Yeah, so that's definitely something that, you know, we will attempt in the future, and maybe something we experiment with, we decide we like or we don't like, but expect to see revisions to influence in some future in the year.
Not
in the immediate future. So we have another person who wants to talk about the influence vote, and let's see, where is this?
See, Phil gets to see all the cool stuff. I just sit here.
The problem is that
smile.
It's like there's like 5 comments per scroll here, so it's very hard to find. Here we go. So it's iSeraphine, and basically they want to know, why don't we just let the player choose in game if they want missionary or expeditionary?
So one of the challenge, right, is that the benefit that we talked about before is based on you know, how it impacts potentially other people. This is a time versus choice thing. So if we're in a public match, maybe 2 people want to be able to set the thing and 2 people don't. How do you resolve that conflict? And there's ideas about maybe doing it.
Whoa,
we talked about this
first try.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, man. iPass Butter is just like smiling so much. He's like, guys can't make fun of me now.
Team Merc.
Oh, man, maybe you'll even get a good chest. Probably not, though. No. Let's see if it upgrades. I mean, probably not, but...
Well, you never know.
That might help him in the next level. We'll find out. Let's see. Sorry I interrupted you.
That's all right. That's all right. Hit it.
So it's like the exact frame where you know.
Oh!
You did it.
You said it wasn't going to upgrade.
It's definitely not going to upgrade again, though.
It could. There's always a chance.
Then it's cheating. We just have to take off all stuff.
Man, that was perfect timing.
Yeah, let's see what he got.
That was super cool.
What is that? Earth Shatter Tower Radius, Frostbite Tower. Too bad you don't got those yet.
I don't have either.
Yeah.
So I was answering the question about, you know, it's tough because then you do voting and you have to wait for the vote, and some players feel good and some players feel bad, and it's a really big philosophy for us that we don't want you know, if Phil and I are playing together in a group match, Phil making an action shouldn't make me upset. You know, we try to limit those opportunities as much as possible. That way, there's a really positive environment for people to play in. So Phil really likes the expeditionary idea, and I like the mercenary idea. I don't want to like feel bad when he votes one way and I vote a different way. So we talked about that design idea a lot, and who knows? I mean, maybe it's something we iterate on if this vote really stays that contentious. But we really are trying to find one thing that we think is maybe better for everybody.
An even simpler explanation is just, if we could make everything, we would make everything, but we don't have the time or the people to make everything. So a lot of times it does come down to this where you're like, oh, wouldn't it be nice to have all the things? It would be nice to have all the things, but we need to focus on building one thing so we can build more stuff for the game. So thank you, Brad, for coming on. If you can grab Haddad, who has now slinked away a little bit. Yeah.
All right, guys. Thank you so much for asking questions, and I'll see you again next time.
Sweet. So we'll have a brief interlude while iPass Butter loads up the next level. We'll see. Is this the first time you've played Sewers on hard?
Yeah, this is gonna be really hard.
This is gonna be just like Wipeout.
I don't like to say that.
Wipeout? Better not be Wipeout.
Yes.
Well, they beat Josh and John beat. Josh and John sounds so much better than I Am Isom and I Pass Butter. It's like way less syllables.
Unless you go I and I.
Yeah. Anyways, guys, this is Daniel Haddad. I'll let him introduce himself.
Yep.
Yeah, introduce yourself.
I am Daniel, co-creative director and lead designer on the project.
Perfect. So we have a slightly different format today. We have their chat here in this little shield tablet. So I'll call off if you see anything from there. And right now we were just kind of commenting about hard mode, and we're going to see if Josh and John can do it. So do you have any suggestions for this particular map? They're playing it with like fresh characters.
Fresh characters. This map has a lot of traps. Building around them might be a good idea, and leveraging them, it will give you that extra DPS boost.
So turtling, no? Because that's their strategy on the last 2 levels. We'll see if it breaks apart here. Okay, so we do have a question from Deladia, which is, do you get your points back if you lose your influence vote? Yes, you do get your point back if you lose the influence vote. So this is really close. Everyone who lost will get their points back, and they'll be using it on something else. And that's one of the big things about the system, is we didn't want people to hesitate to use their points because they thought that, you know, hey, I'm not going to have these for the future. Cool. All right. So just so you know, we've talked to everyone about the mercenary and expeditionary onslaught mode votes. And right now we're going through our questions here. So right now we're actually on question number 5, which is from Dragon Hater, who wants to know, is there going to be a gear trait that will give you skill points?
We talked a lot about that internally, and the way we want to add it is inside item enhancement. That's the current goal, or the current pitch, where the more you enhance your item, you start to get a chance to see like skill points appear on items, and you can level those up by like getting a critical or bonus on that item. That's kind of where our mind is right now. When we do another pass at item enhancement, that's what we're going to investigate.
Perfect. And we have a question from the comments here from Kitten Demon, who says that they do not feel like the value of the reward chest is strong enough. They're always getting items that they just sell. Is there anything we're going to do in the future to fix that?
Yes, we're doing a lot. We're adding a lot of... The 2 things we're focusing on when it comes to rewards is daily missions, because we know that the rewards there are not as great, and endgame chests. And we're adding a bunch of items or new things to the game that we're going to be giving through these two reward venues that hopefully will alleviate those concerns.
And make them better? Okay,
and obviously
cool.
make them better, yeah.
Hopefully. Okay, cool. So you heard that first. We're fixing it. Perfect. Okay. And, well, Cal Helios says that green victory chest should just be removed from the game.
That well, they're important early on, especially level 1 through 5, 5 through 10. But later on, you should be seeing them a lot less.
Perfect. Okay, so let's go to question number 6, which is from Serenako. It says, can you please add /dance, /swish, /taunt, /joke, /laugh, etc.?
I feel like every single Devstream we get asked.
We do. Everyone loves emotes.
We are working on it. We kind of paused it for a bit to focus on more important things, but it is something we are actively looking at.
Yep, I think there are a couple dances that I've seen maybe. So now we just got to get it in slowly. All right, so the next question is from Sislik, who wants to know, is level 25 going to be the max level for characters, or the plans currently for new content to be buffered with new levels added onto the cap?
We did not hit our like 1.0 max level yet. We're at 25 now. We intend to take it a lot higher, and in future updates we'll be obviously raising that bar until we hit it. Perfect.
And now from the chat, Deladia wants to know, will there be a way to level up the stats on your own?
Will there be a way to... yes. That is part of something that I can't really talk too much about. It's tied to your spec node system. The system that you guys know and like. We got a lot of feedback over that, and we're addressing all of that, and you'll see it in a future update.
Is the design of that stuff done yet? Can I look at it on the wiki somewhere?
Yeah, it's been done for a
while.
Like
really? Well, okay, cool, yeah. I guess I should. That was just, he just ended the conversation. He's like, yeah. Okay, cool. So, yes. So I think that's actually the first time we've said that. So that's really exciting. So yes, there will be a way to affect your stats in the future. So we've heard you loud and clear. Sislik also wants to know, is there going to be, never mind. Oh, wait, hold on. Yes, okay. Is there going to be levels past 25 that will give anything other than access to higher level gear? New skill unlocks, new defense unlocks, etc. Man, they're just reading your mind.
There are potential, what we call long-term rewards and more detailed or specializations that you can do on your character. which are tied to endgame content, and you'll probably get to know about that stuff pretty soon, I think.
Not in a little
while.
Okay. So next question. This one is from Naki Kotoni, who wants to know: are you planning to remake elemental damage and trap skill weapon elemental damage combination to be more impactful?
Yes. Our combo system is currently still in the very old prototype phase, where we're trying out to see if that sort of thing is fun and engaging. We actually have goals on this milestone that we're currently working on, which is revamping the combo system and having abilities and defenses and everything tie into it so that it's a more engaging and
Are we still working on that this milestone?
We had work done on the design,
okay.
But we pushed it a little bit.
Pushed the programming?
Yeah.
Okay. So, I don't know, it's disappointing. I'm like, why does it keep getting pushed? Okay, so Kitten Demon also wants to know, when will the boost aura bug be addressed? It's not boosting the HP of buildings if you spec towards it. I think that was on the known issues maybe for the patch?
Known issues. We'll, I'm not sure if it's in the current next patch, but we'll make sure it actually gets announced.
Yeah, it's something that'll probably be, as I was joking with Brad, be hotfixed. If and when we do a hotfix before the next patch. Obviously there will be a next patch. So the next question is from Nightblade46, who wants to know, will Huntress bows have abilities such as piercing and exploding, like Soul Focuser and the Shy Haled?
We talk a lot. I mean, maybe Phil knows a lot about this, but there are a lot of conversations about introducing unique and interesting elements to weapons, like having weapons that fire bursts or fire projectiles that detonate on impact. That is something that we want to do, add variations on type of weapons, not just for range, but also for melee. It's currently not in the next couple of milestones that we have planned, but it's something that we
want to do in the future.
Yep.
Perfect. Okay, so this is another question from Deladia. He wants to know if we have any plans to have more than 4 skills, really 3, and 4 towers.
There's an extra ability coming soon, but it isn't specific to heroes. If you play DDE, you kind of know that pets had abilities, and that is something that we intend to do. Maybe not initially in the first implementation of pets, but that's
something we want to do in the future.
As for more abilities, what we're going to focus on first is this idea of specialization, which you guys will find out more about in the future, where you can take a certain part of your kit and really change it up substantially, where you kind of build all around it. And we want to try that first before we actually say, all right, let's potentially maybe add even more defenses and abilities.
Josh wants you to point your head this way.
Point my head
this way when you speak. Let's see if the microphone will pick you up a little bit better. All right, perfect. Oh, this is another great question. This is from iSeraphine, and they want to know, will survival be available on every map? And if it will there be easier and harder maps?
So, 2 answers to that, potentially. Technically, yes, it can apply to any map, but what we would like to do with it is isolate certain maps at certain moments in time and say, all right, this time around, these are the 2 or 3 survival maps that you guys can play on. And something that we're very careful about is obviously, because if we have 2 survival maps, one is really easy and one's really hard, and they give the same rewards, it's a no-brainer you're going to play the easy one. So we want to introduce like variable rewards between the maps themselves when we introduce survival.
Yeah, so I think, the applicable answer to you guys is it's possible, but it probably won't start out on every single map.
Yeah.
And it's something that we've heard loud and clear that you guys, kind of want more custom-made content. So that's kind of what we're looking at. All right, next question is from Lee Cards, who wants to know, will I be able to transfer my Dungeon Defenders 2 progress from my PC over to my PS4 upon release? I know Sony has been strict in the past with cross-platform online profiles. We don't know.
We don't know yet.
That's all we can say. I'm sorry. Of course, we'd love for it to happen. I know Warframe did like a one-time transfer and stuff, so we just don't know yet. All right. Question number 12 from Happy Guy 3216. Will there be a beta for PS4 that we DD2 players can apply for? Yes, there will be a beta on PS4. So I don't know what the application system will look like for that, but there will certainly be a beta. Next question, also from Happy Guy 3216. Any chance that we will be allowed to pick specific incursions in the future instead of just selecting incursions, just like we could choose specific challenges?
I assume, is it a matchmaking? Oh,
yeah. Oh man. We weren't paying attention and you lost.
Should have used the traps, guys. What's the matter?
All right, so you're gonna tell them.
Your advice was to brought this dude.
All right, let's see. So I guess going back to the question, if I'm understanding it correctly, it's more a matchmaking question where you can pick the specific incursion you want to play. Do you think that's right, Phil?
Yeah. Or can you guys not see everyone? Let's see. Hold on. Oh, okay. Maybe it's me talking to John that's confusing them. Sorry, you can continue answering the question.
So in terms of matchmaking, we still have another pass planned for matchmaking that we know exactly what we want to do for, and it should allow for more control over what exactly you want to play. So let's just leave it at that for now.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so the next question is from Smoky Dark, who wants to know, I'm new to Steam games, but from what my friends have told me, beta and alpha games on Steam can stay that way for over a year. I enjoyed DD2 and watched your last Q&A, and you guys have so much planned for this game, and I'm happy for your plans. However, is there an end in sight in terms of releasing the full game?
Yes.
I mean, there's an end in sight. I think on our early access page it says that we intend to stay in early access for around a year. So that will definitely happen. We released the game pretty early, I would say, right, compared to other early access titles, at least in terms of our feature set. So it is early access. It will be finished in the future. And it's not the near future though, but there is definitely an end in sight. We anticipate, a year.
And it being kind of a live game, we're always going to be like adding more stuff to it over and over.
And so that's what also makes it difficult, because it'll get to a point where we've kind of fulfilled all the things that we've said that we required for V1 on the Steam page, and that will maybe when we switch it to beta. But after then, we're probably going to be adding just as many features every couple of months as we are now. So I wouldn't anticipate it to just stop and stop being developed. All right, the next question is also from Smoky Dark, who says, I'm having trouble looking for groups with finding one other player out of 5 to 10 attempts, or finding the same player over and over again. I'm from Sydney, Australia. Does the search put you together with people from your area or country?
Currently, it does not. That is planned for future phases, where we talked a lot about regions and making sure we match you with people around you before we try to broadcast you to the rest of the world because of these specific issues. But yeah, it's planned for the future.
Perfect. Okay. We have a question from the comments from Kitten Demon, which says, have you guys considered Gutu serverless thread? I'm tired of being put back into the same game I just left.
Yes, we have. That's unfortunately something that we wanted to get something similar when it comes to kicking. You can maybe see something related to that when you both kick someone. Obviously, you can't join the same session again. Yeah. We're going to take that and kind of build upon it and expand it further so that those sort of things don't happen anymore. If you leave something, we don't put you back into it.
We have another question here from Colavin0M, who wants to know, will there ever be a plan to have costumes that actually provide buffs or penalties? Or are costumes only going to be cosmetic?
Costumes are currently intended just to be cosmetics, because these are things that you buy for actual money. And something we harp on a lot is this idea of ethical monetization, where you can't really pay for something and gain power. So yeah, it's probably not going to happen for costumes.
So sorry. So the next question is from XRDX, who wants to know, in addition to a question already asked, will the hunters have additional special stats for her bows? Will these special stats be combined with other stats? For instance, piercing shot with an elemental weapon, or the rarest of rare special stats combined with others, i.e. piercing and multi-shot. So for example, you can have multiple special stats that stack.
To answer, I guess, the first question, yes. All our heroes, we're always kind of active. We have a big list. And everyone can add things to it, like, hey, what kind of special stats do you want to see in the game? And we always look at the forums if people have suggestions for things like that. We intend to add a few more in the near future, and we'll talk about that, I guess, when the time comes. And to answer your other question about kind of having things play off of things, most certainly, yes. That is kind of we call it like the lateral progression that we want our endgame to be about, where you pick a certain aspect or you get a special stat or a certain part of your spec nodes where you kind of build everything around it. You find things that kind of complement it and work well together. As an example, you can get like the provoke duration increased and get mana reduction and the cooldown reduction on it, and then end up with an almost permanent provoke build on your squire.
Perfect. Is anyone using a permanent provoke build?
I don't know. I haven't seen one yet.
Might be too hard to get that combination of items.
And that is something we're aware of also.
Perfect. Okay, cool. So the next question is also from XRDX, who wants to know, are there ever going to be additional towers, traps? I think we already asked this question. So there may be more abilities and we don't know about towers.
Yeah.
Taking the words out of his mouth. Okay, so Zarks wants to know, can you give some feedback about high-end stuff legendary items? Actually, it's weird to have blue mystic items being classified as better item power and stats than legendary ones. Is it on purpose? Or maybe there's some kind of bonuses when we have all same type legendary gear that I'm not aware of?
Okay, so the way it's currently implemented is every few levels, when you like move from level 5 to level 10, the gear you got before is you kind of need to get more of it. So if you had a legendary or a mythic at level 5, around 10, 11, or 12 is when you can start replacing it by a powerful or an epic. That said, we have a pass where we're going to look at our stats, how stats are generated on items, how loot is dropping in the world, and we're going to make a pass on that to make that experience a lot cleaner and more user friendly.
Perfect. So we have some lively debate going on in the comments about solo play and how difficult it is. Do you have anything to kind of say towards that, or maybe how we'll balance in the future? We hear you guys. Yeah. There's a lot that we're thinking about internally. Like yesterday, we had a design weekly where we discussed a little bit like solo play and what are the things that we can do there. We have a few experiments in the pipe, and we're going to put that up, and you guys are going to get to play around with it. And we'll see if you guys say like, yes, this is the type of solo play experience I want. Then we'll know that, all right, let's focus our efforts this way. So just be a little patient when we develop these things. Perfect. Okay. So Deladio wants us to skip to his or her question, and so They say it's 5th from last. So we'll see here. And we'll go back. The Squire Legendary Sword that gives, for example, 150 attack power as secondary aura. This boost does not show on the tower DPS. Is this intended? Also, does the aura have any range, or is it over the whole map?
It is not intended that it doesn't show you. That's actually a bug that we intend to fix. The aura does have a range. The thing that happened with those, we kind of rushed the idea in, and we didn't have the... We had the idea of the content where when he's holding the sword, he's walking around, you kind of see the area that he's buffing. We didn't get to do that in time, so all you see is that little goldy thing that's around him. We intend to potentially revisit in the future and make that range a lot clearer, but it is not across the whole map.
Perfect. Okay. So now going back to where we were before, another question from Zarks, who wants to know, what do you think about improving the enhancement wheel? Something like adding random stats depending on the quality of stats from stuff used, etc.
Yes, I mean, absolutely. We answered something, kind of hinted at it in an earlier question. There's another pass that we're intending to do for item enhancement that adds a more interesting layer where you can potentially get things on your items that you wouldn't be able to find in any other way, and then empower them more and more and more. So just stay tuned for that.
Perfect. And then we have a question from Amoeb P, who wants to know if we'll be able to upgrade bags to premium bags in the future.
Yes. That is something we kind of wanted to get in last time, but we didn't have enough time. It is something we're hoping to get in this time. We'll see. We'll see when we'll be able to get in, but absolutely. So don't worry about that.
Oh man, I think you're going to be powering yourself up, Butter, but I don't think you're going to get enough time to beat the level. You're just procrastinating.
No, this is the only way to do it.
I know, you gotta be powerful. Alright, so Batophobia wants to know, are there plans for more traditional challenges like chicken and moving core from DD1, or are incursions taking that spot?
Incursions are currently meant to be the spiritual successor for challenges, but that doesn't obviously discount the idea of more interesting and unique incursions akin to the things you kind of are used to in DD1. We're kind of ramping up slowly with incursions. We're trying small sets of things and expanding and trying cooler and cooler things. So just keep that in mind.
Perfect. So we have a couple more bug questions. They want to know, will the Flameburst tower animation be fixed soon so we can start to spec into Flameburst proc?
Yes. If they're talking about the whole, if you put all the specs into it, you get a small, very, very marginal DPS increase. We're aware of that bug and we intend to fix it. So what was the other? Is there another bug question?
There is. This one is about the Serenity Aura with damage spec node. The damage does not increase ability damage. Is this intended?
Yes, I believe it's intended. It's only meant to buff your left click and right click.
Okay, perfect. All right, so next question. This one is from Dagnomi, who wants to know, when can we expect a character wipe? If we don't do a wipe, how can we level the playing field once we go free to play? That's going to be kind of up to you guys. So right now we've said that, we're not going to do one, or more correctly, that we don't have one planned. If it's something that's really requested among you guys, it may be something that you do. I think we said a couple of times before, we're going to be in early access for about a year. We don't know when the game's going to flip from free in accordance with being in early access, so it's going to be a question. We certainly after we're free, there will never be a wipe. So, yes. So if we're going to do it, it would be for before that switch. So if that's something you guys want, we love you to keep telling us, and then we might do an influence vote or something about it.
Yep.
All right, so we have the next question, which is from Claus, who wants to know, are we going to be able to sell bags or replace them with... Oh, we already got that one. Josh, you got to get rid of the multiple questions on here. All right, so the next one is from Mordio, who wants to know, will the matchmaking system get some work soon?
Yes. Matchmaking is a thing that we'll probably keep working on for a good chunk of time. Like I said earlier, we still have another pass that we kind of know exactly what we want to do with matchmaking, and further paths beyond that are kind of nebulous. So yeah, absolutely.
Perfect. Okay. So the next question is from Mordio, which is about the hard loot. He has a very specific question, so I'll say that, even though I think we responded to something like this before. Will you guys fix the loot table in hard mode? I get 80% greens, 10% epic, 8 to 8.5% mythic, and 2 to 1.5% legendaries.
Nice.
If that is right for hard mode, I am better off forming normal plus.
It's nice to see that those numbers are actually fairly accurate. The problem with hard mode is, we kind of mentioned this last stream and in our notes, we got it in, but we did not have enough time to basically think of a good scheme for rewards. So all we managed to do within the time that we had is just say, all right, items when they generate, they'll generate with a bit extra stats on them. So we have all the intention to actually address hard mode and give you meaningful rewards for them. We're sorry we couldn't get to it in time, obviously, but it was either no hard mode or hard mode with, unfortunately, not so great rewards.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that I'm at least pushing them internally is when we release a mode to maybe hold it if we don't have the words associated with it, because I know that a large part of getting the new modes for you guys is rewards, even though for us we're like, oh, the mode's done, cool, people can play hard mode. You guys are like, well, why would I play hard mode? The rewards aren't there yet. So yeah, it's definitely something we'll be looking into.
It is important, like part of early access for us, like, all right, hard mode's up, we need feedback, go. Just put it up there as quickly as possible.
Oh, so I'm supposed to apologize to Josh because
that was asked in the question.
Because Badaphobia said the question was asked already in the comments, so of course he couldn't delete the duplicate. So that is a good point.
Sorry, Josh.
Yeah. So they want to know also what are the odds of like a survival version of challenges for, like, for example, an endless chicken or golden enemies or something like
that. That's a really, really cool idea, actually, kind of combining incursions with Onslaught or our survival mode. Currently, obviously, we got to build our survival mode, see if it's fun before we start mixing and matching, but that's a really cool idea for the future.
Yeah, and Potato Lisk is now asking, is there a wipe confirmed? No, there's not a wipe confirmed. A lot of people are asking for a wipe, and it may be something that we put to a vote or something in the future, but right now there is no wipe planned. Okay, so C-Box Hero wants to know if we'll ever be optimizing the game further. Right now, streaming is a bit difficult without a $300 CPU, they're saying. Maybe. I don't think it's on our immediate plans, but something maybe after we have a lot more work on the game done is something we're going to do. I think the min specs are actually pretty low
our min specs
for
are
a game
low
right now.
If you're having trouble, I would suggest like writing up the specs of your PC and what's going on and put them on the forums, and we'll like check it out, see what's going on.
Yep. Perfect. Okay, and guys, you're all saying you're going to save all your votes for the wipe thing. We don't even know if we're going to do it, so please use your votes in the meantime. Everyone will be on a fair ground if we ask for a wipe or not wipe when we do vote. Yeah. Okay, so we have here, so given that the Linux version of this is from K61824. Given that the Linux version of DD1 experienced a few odd behaviors, what steps are we taking to ensure that the non-Windows version will behave like the Windows version? Should we expect that we can test those before early access ends?
Should we?
So basically, we have learned from that, and that's why the other versions aren't out yet.
Yep.
So there will probably be a point in time where those are out, whether it's a separate early access build of Linux after PC has left early access or not, we don't know. But we've learned that it's really difficult to release multiple SKUs at the same time, and so we're just not going to try it again. There's already enough game bugs to fix, and we want to be able to focus on those. It's really difficult when there's only a few Linux users and millions of PC users to say, hey, well, there are all these bugs that are affecting a million, and these really serious bugs affecting a few. To make that choice is not something that we choose to do.
And we feel your pain. Like, our CEO keeps asking for a Mac version because he uses a Mac. We have a few people internally also that use Linux and want the Linux version, so yeah.
Perfect. Okay, so the next question, we only have time for a couple more. We have 4 minutes left. Which is from Piggy Teehee, who wants to know, are the large ships, specifically the propellers on the ships outside the ramparts, powered by magic or engines?
Those are it's a combination of magic and engines. That's what it's, if you're specifically talking about the old onesie ones, they're obviously powered by like this weird tech that we have combined with the dark energy that they're powered by.
Perfect. Okay. So the next question is from who wants to know,
Nice.
will we be able to get tech trees for towers giving them new abilities? If so, I think tower progression should increase with tower usage.
I kind of hinted at this earlier, and I'll go back to the idea of specialization. It's not specifically a tech tree, but we have something planned where you can take a certain aspect of your hero's kit, whether it be defenses, abilities, or your attacks, and hyper-specialize it, change it up a lot, and build around it to completely change the way you play the game. So that's what we currently have planned.
So I have a question here, Chasm241. They want to know, why does the boost aura not let you build anything near it, but you can build the boost aura near other things?
Yeah, we have a problem with auras. We've had it for a while, where if you build a bunch of things and build an aura on top of it, it's fine. But if those things get destroyed and you want to build them back again, there's a small issue. That is unfortunate.
Big issue.
Yes, big issue. Unfortunately, we haven't had the time to go in and fix it just because of the the way we prioritize things. But believe me, it's one of the things that I keep harping on. A lot of people internally keep harping on. We will eventually fix it.
So Newt PvP wants to know, could we have remakes of some of our favorite DD1 maps? And Sporkle seconds that.
That's seconded. I don't see why not, especially some of the more like iconic and popular maps that they can see a return in DD2.
Yeah, so if you guys, if that's something you guys really want, please keep telling us on the forums. I know it's something that's been discussed off and on internally, and I personally think it would be something that's really fun to do. All right, cool. So we have time for 2 more questions here. We have 2 minutes left. The last 2 questions are from Balls Out. Let's see what they have to say. So do you have any plans for a search function for inventory?
Search function, no, but we are planning on introducing ways for you to find things quicker. It's not necessarily a search like the keyboard and mouse thing, especially with like PS4 around the corner. Obviously, having a search thing will not make much sense for it. We're looking a lot at things like filters, where it can isolate Squire-specific things, specific relics, specific types of weapons, and filter it out for you a little cleaner.
Perfect. And then the last question from Balls Out is, do you have any plans for improved selling features, such as sell all check marks to sell all green, blue, purple items, and leave legendaries, etc.?
We had a step forward with the sell everything in your bag thing. But yeah, we talk a lot internally about like selling all the junk automatically, whites and grays, and potentially even greens in the future. We can potentially add that in the future. We're waiting to see if some of the concerns that you guys had with inventory management have been alleviated or not, and we'll take it from there.
Perfect. Well, I'll ask one more question from the comments go. This is from Kitten Demon. They want to know how I feel about selective difficulties. For example, they could make the enemy HP be 2 times HP or do other type things like that would affect drop rates.
Absolutely. It's something we mention a lot internally. I personally bring it up every time we kind of start planning things out for the next year. We call it kind of the idea of a gambit system, where you can say, all right, I'm going to bring these additional effects to make this encounter harder for me, and you get a potential payout or reward for it. It's something on our minds, and we'll see when we'll be able to do it.
Perfect. Okay, well, thank you everyone for watching the stream, and we'll catch you next week. Have a good weekend.
Have a good weekend.